Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Moving the Chains here on Team NBS Media. It is week 3, and we have another exciting slate of games ahead of us. I'm so excited, of course, to be talking football with Jeff and Joe. Welcome back, you guys. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Doing good. Doing great.
Coffee is the best invention in the world.
Yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm having some lemon water.
Cup number 2.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Before noon?
Is there any other time to have it?
Yeah, this is a judgment-free zone, man.
You know, listen, that game I was at last night didn't end till after 11. I didn't get home till after midnight, and I was working on graphics till 3 a.m. I'm working on fumes.
Jeff is
Suddenly I don't feel so tired.
He's working overtime, everyone. We're slacking. Jeff's working overtime. Okay, we love to start the show off with our rapid fire showing. So, I think last week, first of all, I don't think anyone expected week 2 to go the way that they did, right? Like, that was crazy. I think that was what makes football so exciting was week 2.
We showed that the curse doesn't isn't inclusive to just one game. It can go across the board. But, oh, man, it was brutal last week, and the record shows it. Oh, man. I mean.
Get me off of there. Just get me off of there.
No, wait, you tied Jeff.
I usually don't flex the owner of the company muscle, but I need to be taken off of there until my record improves.
You know,
you're at 500, and that's all that matters.
Now, back-to-back weeks. Yeah. Listen, that's not bad.
You know? Hey, consistent.
Yeah. You know, it could be 4 and 12.
And you don't know.
You know.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, we were all hovering around 500. It was 1 or 2 games that kind of put Ashmere and Greg over last week. So
it's that Cardinals pick, baby. It's taking me to the end.
Listen, I seem to be going 500. I do 2 lone wolves a week, and I seem to be going 500 on that. So I think I'm hanging with the lone wolves all right.
Yeah.
It's just the some of these other unanimous decisions are really kicking me in the rear end.
Yeah,
tell me about it.
Outrageous. Okay, I'm going to show it one more time just so everybody who's joining a little late can see where we're at week 2. Not too bad. Of course, Greg's 1 game ahead. Like, this is my goal is to get onto Greg's level. All right, so we've got an exciting group of games to talk about, and we have a fun-filled show. Of course, we're going to talk about the Steelers and the Chargers. I don't know why I said of course, but I think that was an unexpected choice. But I think it's important to talk about these teams because how could the Chargers possibly start the season 3-0 in the AFC West? Okay, like the Jim Harbaugh effect is really happening. So what are the Chargers doing right, if you want to use that word, Jeff, to lead them to this, possible 3-0 start?
Well, it's called having a plan. And people thought when Harbaugh came to the Chargers, it was going to be, it's going to take him a while. This team had talent already. He liked the talent that he had. He got guys that helped, in free agency and in the draft, help do what he wanted to do, starting with running the football and dominating the line of scrimmage. So when you have all of those elements, you have a very good Jim Harbaugh team. They are not the flashy Chargers offense that we saw the past few years. They're not the Chargers that take all the risks and risk losing games like they saw the past few years. This is a team that's going to go out there, play calculated football, play smart football, get down and dirty in the trenches, and beat you up. And that is Jim Harbaugh football. It worked for him in San Francisco. It led him to a Super Bowl that unfortunately he didn't win. It led him to Michigan, where he did win a natty before he left there. Now he's going to try to do the same thing in LA. So while people may consider him a mad genius, it's just really hard-nosed, old-school football, the way he played when he played in the NFL with the Bears and Colts. That's who he is. That's his identity. That's how his teams are.
I think, of course, we can all agree that starting against the Panthers is a very great way to start your season. I think that's a huge ego boost. So now they're taking on a Steelers team with Justin Fields commenting about Russ being like a good person in the locker room, but like he's not going to give him the opportunity to start, right? It's like I feel like the way that they're talking to the media is very strange, right? Do you guys agree? The way that they're like almost putting Fields and Russ against each other. Like Russell Wilson is older and Justin Fields was supposed to be your backup, and now he's starting. Like, leave it alone, just I feel like they're making them say strange things to one another. I don't know if you guys feel the same way when you read all the articles talking about Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I kind of do, but I think that's how you. I mean, unfortunately, as people get clicks, you want eyeballs on your articles, you want eyeballs on your website. You got to go something that's a little bit risque. And I think that Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, especially Russell Wilson, having been in the league for so long, they do a good job of tiptoeing around that, not saying anything crazy or not giving them any bait at all to make this story a non-story, a real story, if that makes sense. But yeah, I agree with you, Ashmere. I also too kind of feel like it's a little bit of weird vibes going around from the media, not really the players.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, and it's plain and simple. It's all about what Joe said. We want to get attention on our work, but you also have quarterbacks who are competitive. Russell Wilson, at the end of his career, still wants to be the guy. Justin Fields wants to prove that he wasn't the reason Chicago was a mess. Okay, so he wants to get out there and continue to start. He's out there. The team is winning. While he's not throwing for 300 yards a game, he's a major reason why they're winning. So as far as he's concerned, listen, I'm not here to give the job back. I want to keep it. I love the guy, but plain and simple, as far as I'm concerned, I'm staking my flag now and saying Pittsburgh is mine. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you want, the competitiveness in the quarterback room, as long as it's not toxic. And so far, it's not toxic.
Yeah, I guess a little competition never hurt anyone. All right, Joe, you get the Steelers here. What do you think they can do right against this Chargers team?
What they've been doing, playing solid defense. I mean, these are two teams I think that mirror each other. I mean, the Steelers just play solid defense. You got the offensive wrecking machine known as TJ Watt on the defensive side and a bunch of other guys that are unnamed but do their job on defense. And then Justin Fields make plays when they're available. Don't turn the ball over. Don't make that critical interception. And then obviously run the ball with Najee Harris, try to keep the other team's offense off the field. I think this is going to be a very old school football game that we're going to have today between the Steelers and the Chargers. I'm looking forward to it. But I think if I'm Pittsburgh, we have to have 0 turnovers, run the ball, and continue to play really good defense. I mean, the way the Atlanta Falcons looked against the Eagles was completely different than the way they looked against the Steelers. That's because the Steelers' defense is a different level.
Yeah. I think we're going to see Justin Herbert on the floor a little bit more this game. He's going to need a lot of protection, and TJ Watt, obviously, like we saw him beaten last week. So I guess to close things out, who has the stronger offense? ? Because I haven't seen like any explosive plays lately, so I'm curious to hear who your guys' thoughts are on that.
That's the resident OC.
Well, if I'm going to think about who's got the stronger offense, for me, it's got to be the Chargers, and it's because they're consistently moving the football. As I said, it's not the big, fast-paced offense that you're used to seeing, but they are dominating the line of scrimmage. They're moving the football on the ground. One of the things about Pittsburgh is they're inconsistent running the football, inconsistent protecting the passer, and their drives tend to come in pace. They get one here, a couple of stall outs here, another drive here, a couple of stall outs here. That plays in the hands of the LA Chargers.
Okay, what about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think I'd have to go up to the Chargers. I mean, I think that seeing J.K. Dobbins healthy and playing football is really exciting. He's been explosive. All the ex-Ravens they have in the backfield. I think if Pittsburgh was coming into if Pittsburgh was a little more consistent coming into this game on the offense side of the ball, I would say the Steelers. But because of what I've seen from the Chargers, I have to go with them. I mean, there's a couple of big plays last week from Pittsburgh that Justin Fields made, but they were brought back because of penalties. If he can have those kind of plays again this game, but not have penalties with them, that will help them. But because their offense is more consistent, I got to go with the LA Chargers.
Yeah, and playing in Pittsburgh does not sound like a fun thing to do. So I think that is a huge advantage for them as well to be at home on this game. I think this is an exciting one. I don't know how high the score will be, but I do think that this is going to really prove something for these two teams to show off and show out. All right, we're going to roll into our next segment, which it's an exciting one, I think. Jeff is going to break down, what is going wrong with the Ravens. So, Jeff, please take it away.
Absolutely.
Oh, we lost him right when it was his cue to go.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, go ahead,
I'm
Jeff.
here. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Nothing.
He has super duper Wi-Fi. You will never lose Jeff.
No, I am here. Well, it's not all doom and gloom for the Ravens right now, but right now there are issues going on with this team, and it starts with execution. This offense, this defense are both having their issues. Defense a little bit less. They're not giving up a lot of scores, but it's making it hard on them that the offense is being very inconsistent right now, and it starts up front. All right, offensively, they're struggling to protect the quarterback. They're struggling to run the football. Two staples of the Ravens. And we talk about the Mark Andrews and the tight ends, how big they are for this offense. Lamar Jackson, his ability to do a lot of things. Unfortunately, when you're not running the ball very well, when you're not protecting the quarterback, he can only save you but so much. And right now, when you're looking at the Ravens, this is a major problem. I'm trying to pull up some video, so give me 1 second while I'm doing that, but I'm going to keep talking. So basically, when you're looking at these two teams, the struggles start up front, right? The offensive line. I'll just pull them up here. It makes it much simpler. All right. So I'm going to pull up a play for you right now that illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. There we are. Gotta love modern technology. All right, so we're going to rewind this back. I want you to see this from the beginning. All right, so here we are. All right, now watch the right tackle. Simple drop back for Lamar. All right, you need at least 2 to 3 seconds for these routes to clear. He's not getting that. Watch how quickly he gets beaten. All right, and gets right into him, gets him off balance. Look at the way the tackle's leaning. Right, this is called bad posture. He's no leverage whatsoever. There's no way to protect Lamar in this situation, and it shows. It gets right off. Lamar's done. Okay, and this is Lamar Jackson. We talk about how elusive he is. Once again, you cannot protect your quarterback by doing this. Okay, and this is just a simple straight pass rush. All right, there is very little that anybody at quarterback can do with this. Look at the people starting to come open. By the time they're getting open, Lamar's going to the ground. Right, this is the kind of thing we're seeing from Baltimore. Okay. Consistent issues protecting the quarterback. All right. And when you talk about running the football, well, we got some of that too. All right. And I'm going to pull that one up for you right now. All right. So we're talking about running the football, the same issues. Guys have to be able to sustain blocks. They have to go out there and get people so these holes can open up. You have to be able to move bodies off the line of scrimmage. Watch what happens on this clip. All right here, where plain and simple, we have the same issue. They don't account for the extra man, and we're going to have a clear lane to the runner. All right, so here we are. They're going to run a draw play on this one. Okay, watch what happens. They start to get a hat on the hat, but nobody accounts for the Mike linebacker. You see him right here, unblocked, coming from 5 yards deep. Watch him come like a missile as he comes untouched for the running back on the draw. Right there. Okay. If you're not sustaining blocks, if you're not reaching your assignments, you're going to have unblocked defenders impacting your play. Okay, running back has nowhere to go. All right, this starts out, you're seeing a hat on a hat. You're starting to see a chance for a lane up the middle. By the time he gets that ball, look at how close, look how quick that gap closes. 2 defenders in the hole. Okay, these are missed assignments. These are things that you can't have when you're trying to control the line of scrimmage. The Ravens offense is notorious for controlling the line of scrimmage with the running game. We've seen it now. They struggle in the pass. They struggle with the running game. And this is why their offense is very inconsistent right now. So these are the issues that they're having running the football, throwing the football. This is why the Ravens offense is hit or miss right now. You're going into a game against the Dallas Cowboys offense, who last week, plain and simple, they couldn't keep up with New Orleans. That was the only reason they weren't in that game. If New Orleans, if their defense was able to get some stops early in the game, that's an entertaining game. But since New Orleans went out there and scored on their first 6 drives, Dallas was overwhelmed. They had no chance. The Ravens, on the other hand, in their first 2 games, have been inconsistent offensively in both games. Dallas has been at least consistent, at least one of the 2. So while I'm watching the analysts of this game and they're talking about, is Dallas's offense in trouble? I'm not worried about their offense. Their defense worries me when they get behind the 8-ball. Can they adjust and get out of it? That's what they didn't show last week. Well, this Baltimore offense is showing right now. They're very inconsistent. And if I'm trusting two teams right now, I trust Dallas a little bit more the way they're playing. So that's not a prediction. That's not a spoiler. It's just talking about the matchup right now that we're talking about. All right. So it is simple. Right? This offense is going to be the key today. If they could come out and finally find a rhythm, avoid the things that we just showed you. Okay, because Dallas's pass rush, not overly talented right now. Yes, you have DeMarcus Lawrence. Yes, you have Micah Parsons. But when those guys come up the field, they're having issues. They had to activate Carl Lawson for this game because they were having issues getting 4-man pressure last week. So this is what's going to be key for Baltimore. If you can hold up in protection versus that Dallas pass rush, not give up the issues that we saw in that film, be able to get blocks at the second level in the running game, you will have a better game offensively versus this Dallas defense.
So I'm curious to hear, because I feel like Lamar always gets the back end of the comments when things start going south for the Ravens. How much of this would you put onto his shoulders, the flaws that they're having right now?
Not as much as people say. And the reason being, he doesn't block, right? We just saw the video where you're seeing unblocked defenders. You're seeing tackles getting thrown off balance and put right in his lap. You're a talented quarterback. He is an ultra-talented special quarterback. But even he can't avoid some of these errors. And that's why they're struggling. Okay? They have to get their running game going because that's what their offense is predicated on. The ability to run the football, the ability to run play action off of it. They don't have wide receivers on the outside that threaten you enough to throw their way 8 to 10 times, and have them beat people. They beat you with the running game, play action off the running game with those 2 tight ends, likely in Andrews, right? And then you have the slot receiver that goes out there and hurts you, okay? But when it comes down to it, Bateman has just not been the number one that they hoped he would be, and that's one of the biggest problems with this offense. You don't have the outside threat that really scares you on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, Lamar's kind of looking for only those 2 guys, and there's other teams with a variety of weapons that have added them this season, so huge disadvantage for them. Joe, any comments on what you'd like to follow up?
I agree with Jeff. I just think it's too late in the season to try to improve your offensive line. And the Ravens aren't going to find anybody in free agency that's going to help them. I think they kind of did. I think they did a disservice to Lamar Jackson not investing more money in the offseason to make this a better offensive line. And whenever I'm real big on if you have a generational talent, you use generational talent. And Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, is a generational talent at the quarterback position. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure he has the best offensive line possible so he can go out there and perform. And I think people who are bashing Lamar, what do you want him to do? I mean, like Jeff said, he's not a guard. He's not a tackle. They have to establish that. They brought Derrick Henry in. People are screaming to the clouds that they're not using him enough. It doesn't even matter. If there's no hole to run through, what's Derrick Henry supposed to do? So I think that Mumpkin and company have to get back to the drawing board and figure out how they're going to improve this offensive line, whether it's keeping a tight end in on a pass plays or keeping a back in the chip. But they got to figure something out. So if this is going to be their Achilles heel for the whole season, it's not going to be as successful as the Ravens fans wanted it to be. But definitely O-line issues glaring.
Yeah. I mean, as a Raider fan, I was watching that game in the bar like, there's no way Gardner Minshew missed Devontae Adams the first time, and then he's going to figure it out and give it to him again. So I know everyone in Raider Nation's like giving him his flowers, but it's only been 2 games, so I'm going to wait and see how today goes until I'm like, yeah, he's doing pretty well. All right, we're going to take a quick little break, but we will see you guys soon. We've got a lot more coming on Moving the Chains here.
The time is almost here. Our picks for the week coming next on Moving the Chains, the only way to start your football Sunday.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? Shoot us an email or DM. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Welcome back, everyone, to Team NBS here. Of course, you saw that fire promo. I love it. If you would like to join the team, please let us know. We have fun shows like this of all varieties. If you saw the Mask podcast, you would see that we have people talking about whatever, wherever, and they're anonymous. You don't even have to show your face. So the opportunities are endless here. We're going to talk about our next game, which I think is, yes, the Vikings and the Texans. Okay. If you're new here, welcome. We love the Texans. But I think we should really spotlight the Vikings. Like, what's going on? How is Sam Darnold doing well? ? And also, if you didn't know, the 49ers, I learned this last week, have not won in Minnesota in now 33 years. So when we were doing our rapid fire picks, I threw that on everybody and they were like, wait a minute, now I don't know if I want to pick the Niners. And we all did, and they all lost. So what made the Vikings so successful last week? And they need to implement that against a very strong Texans offense, which is the polar opposite of the Ravens, meaning they have a ton of weapons downfield. So, Joe, why don't you kick it off?
Brian Flores, and Brian Flores again. This is the Vikings defense. I mean, they have a great pass rush. They can get pressure on the quarterback without having to bring in an extra rusher. Their front four does enough to get pressure. Harrison Smith, 90 years old, still on the back, making plays in the secondary. So I just think for the Minnesota Vikings, it's been their defense. Brian Flores is taking these guys, and he's like a chess master, putting the pieces where it need to be. Made Brock Purdy really, really uncomfortable, kind of shut down that 49ers running game. And I know people will say, well, there was no Christian McCaffrey, but their backup running back had a pretty damn good game against the Jets. And I thought he was going to do the exact same thing against Minnesota, and that wasn't the case. So I think if you're the Vikings, you've been leaning on that defense. And then you also have Sam Darnold playing for a head coach that's putting him in a position to make plays. And so far, Sam's been making those plays. He's enjoying this moment. I think Sam Darnold's been waiting for this his entire NFL career.
Beating your former team against the Mr. Irrelevant draft pick, I think that's a huge that probably would get me hyped as hell. So I understand. Jeff, the 97-yard touchdown, huge flaw for the 49ers defense. Obviously, I don't think that could be repeated in this Texans game. But what made that possible? How were the Vikings able to pull that off? Because I feel like that really changed the energy of that game.
It started with the protection that Sam Darnold got. You know, the beautiful thing about it is you don't see anybody around him when he's throwing that football. They kept him nice and clean in the end zone of all places, right? You would think San Francisco would be ultra aggressive with them backed up on their own goal line like that. But no, they rushed 4. They were able to protect against 4. They were able to go vertical. And Justin Jefferson is just a beast. He beats 2 defenders on the play. Okay, it was a great throw by Sam Darnold. Now, the one thing we've never accused Sam Darnold of is not having a strong arm. He's always had that, okay? What he does with that strong arm at times is what we question. But in this situation, it was a perfect throw. Great job protecting him. He had a nice, clean pocket. His best receiver beats 2 defenders. It was the perfect situation. So kudos to them for, we talk about execution. That was perfect execution against a very good defense.
Yeah, so today, another difficult defense. They're at home again, am I correct? Yes, they're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Back-to-back huge games for them at home. I feel like that momentum, they're going to be hyped in Minnesota today. So how can the Vikings close this out? And then we can, of course, talk about the Texans, Jeff.
Well, you're going to need 2 things to happen today. You're going to need the same kind of protection that you had last week. You're going to need your defense to stand up again. I think this offense is better than what they saw last week. And people go, how is the Texans offense better than San Francisco? Well, there was no Christian McCaffrey last week. That's a big factor in that San Francisco offense. Also, with Deebo Samuel going out in that game, that took away another major weapon. George Kittle was banged up. All right, so you're looking at that offense. That San Francisco offense was a little weakened by injury last week compared to what they're going to see is a full tilt other than Joe Mixon. And trust me, behind Joe Mixon, they got some good running backs too. Mm-hmm. So I think what you're going to look at is a different animal in Houston. That defense a lot better than what I saw in San Francisco. And I've seen San Francisco's defense is really, really good. But they're the bully, right? When they get on top of you, they're hard to get off of you. But when you hit them in the mouth enough times early, they're kind of on their heels. Houston's defense, not that kind of animal. They're a lot more calculating, a lot more plotting, a lot more talented across the board, a lot more athletic. So when I look at Houston, they're going to be the tougher matchup than what we saw last week for this offense. So you can't have the turnovers. I expect a lot more out of the running game with Minnesota this week. I expect them to try and protect Sam Darnold from this defense. Let him make the opportunistic throws to Justin Jefferson. Try and keep him out of 3rd and long. And I think play action is going to be big for him as well. So it's definitely going to start with the running game, trying to control the line of scrimmage. Brian Flores has to come up with a plan to really get in ahead of C.J. Stroud, because if he doesn't, that's going to be the thing that opens it up for the Houston Texans.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I thought the Texans were going to have a higher score against Chicago last week. And I think that is, it was week 2, but I think it kind of shows that the Texans are not the super team that we think they are. They're still working out some kinks. And I don't think playing against a Vikings team that just put down the Niners like they did is the game to figure out what you're going to do. But I'm curious, Joe, who do you think is the Texans' number 1 receiving option today? Just a random thought.
Ooh, I think I'd stick with Nico Collins. I think that they're going to put all their attention on Diggs. Obviously, he's coming back to Minnesota where his career started. They're going to put a lot of attention on him. He's going to want to have a big game. And if he's not getting the ball, we all know he's not going to be afraid to let people know on the sidelines they should be getting the damn ball. But I think you with Collins, I think you also try to use your linebacker or your tight end, Schultz as well, try to get him involved and keep those Vikings linebackers thinking in the back of their mind pass coverage instead of rushing the passer. It's going to be a really, really good game, though. But I just think that for Houston, like you said, Ashmir, didn't have the performance offensively we thought they were going to have against the Bears. I think they're going to look at this game as a chance to have that kind of performance and to kind of put the rest of the league on notice that it's not just a feel-good story, but the Texans are the real deal.
Yeah, I think Nathan said it exactly how I said it. The Texans need some time to gel. So how do you think the Texans find success today? Joe, you can go, Joe.
Run the ball, run the ball, keep them on. What you want to do is make Minnesota's pass rush not be a factor in the game. We do that by running the ball. And then once you get a chance to get that running game established, play action pass, baby. Go deep over the top, catch those guys peeking into the backfield. But I think if Houston struggles to run the ball, it could be a long game for them. Love C.J. Stroud. We don't need him going back there, dropping back 35, 40 times. That's not the Texans' recipe for a win.
Yeah. And I think adding Tank Dell to that, I think Nico's going to be heavily covered compared to what you said with the targets. I think it's going to be a Nico Collins coverage game, and this is the time that Tank Dell shows out. And I'm only saying that because I have him in fantasy. I really need something to happen.
But that's exactly right? We talk about the offense. It hasn't been right since he broke his leg last year.
Yes.
Right? And he is their most explosive player. So when you get him back to being the Tank Dell he was before the injury, this offense will go back to being the explosive offense it was. Right now, they're playing a methodical offense where they're getting the ball to Nico Collins on some big plays. They're running the football. They're able to get some third downs to Schultz and Diggs and all those guys. But once you get that guy in a slot that opens everything up, that catches that intermediate ball and takes off, that can get behind the safeties and make a big play, and Tank Dell back to being what he was, that's going to really stretch the field for them and open everything wide open.
Yeah. If we don't see Tank with this 97-yard touchdown today, I'm going to be mad, okay? I need the point.
I wouldn't go that far. He don't need to get 97, but
67, fine, I'll settle.
Yeah, I would go that far. Those are rare. You may be waiting a while.
I want to see Houston. I want to see the Texans run the ball. I want to see their running game really take off today.
But they've had too many injuries back there. They've got Cam Akers starting today.
Cam Akers is not a bad back when most.
I was going to say, when he's healthy, he's no screw.
I mean, I got him off the waiver wire because I have Mixon, but I need to feel confident in my choices here. So talk about Akers. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, Akers is a guy that can run the ball tough between the tackles. He has a little bit of juice outside. He has a little make you miss in him. He had some issues in L.A., didn't get along with the staff, and you could tell he shut down. He started out really well when he first got there, and he shut down after that. But you know what would make a running back like that look real good again? A very good offensive line that's opening holes for you, and the Houston Texans can do that. So if they're giving him creases to get second level, get to the linebackers quickly, Cam Akers is going to look rejuvenated versus this defense.
Okay, well, manifesting.
Also pretty good. He's a good receiver out the backfield too.
Absolutely.
As well. Because he can help out the Houston Texans a lot in the passing game as well.
All right, so we're going to see maybe a better offensive performance from the Texans than we saw Monday night.
Hope so. Fingers crossed.
Everything's crossed. All right, the next game. I don't know how this happened. I don't know what juju we've got Derek Carr on, but they're cooking, okay? Safe to say the Saints are averaging, 40 points a game at this point? And
above that.
Yeah, like, is the 40-point game the new average? Like, what do you guys think about that?
I don't know about that.
That'll come back to earth as teams get better.
Yeah.
As more teams understand what they're doing. Remember, this is a totally different offense that we've seen from the Saints the past 10 years. Okay? A lot more movement, a lot more theatrical before the snap. It puts you in certain situations where you're not able to cover certain people with certain players. Kamara is looking rejuvenated. The offensive line is opening up some holes. They're way more physical than we've seen the last 2 years. So this is a rejuvenated Saints offense. It is making it so much easier on that defense. Listen, everybody's talking about Derek Carr. Yes, he looks amazing. But when you're starting off 16 for 16 and guys are running wide open in secondaries, it makes you look a lot better. Okay, eventually they're going to come to a point where he's going to have to make some tougher throws. There's going to be a lot more pressure on him. Teams are finally figuring out how to slow that running game down, and we're going to see them in more pressure situations. They haven't been in that. Carolina was overmatched. They overmatched Dallas's defense last week. This week, they may get a chance to face a way better defense that's still trying to sort it out, but an offense that can put just as much pressure on them. Dallas's offense is still figuring it out, but they're consistent. This offense in Philly can put a lot of pressure on you. So we may see a high-scoring game today.
There's just so many things to talk about. Okay, the Eagles from last week, I really want to understand both of your thoughts. That game was in the bag for them. It felt like, I'm not including the Saquon drop as a flaw to the Eagles' loss. I'm more criticizing the time management and the coaching decisions. Want to hear your thoughts on both of those before I follow through and talk about the Eagles taking on the Saints today.
Go ahead, John. I talk a lot.
I think the game might have passed Vic Fangio by, man. I mean, what are you doing? The defenses he was calling when the game was on the line, and you saw that the Falcons are driving down the field, just the defensive coverages he was calling made no sense to me at all. Instead of continuing to attack, he kind of went into safe mode. And you can say that, hey, the offense should have took care of it. It shouldn't have came to that, but it did come down to that. And when it was time for that defense to make a play, they didn't make a play. And it's kind of the same thing with the Eagles offense as well, too, playing it safe. They should just attack and just ended that game on a strong note. I definitely think the Eagles gave that game away. And with the competitive conference like the NFC East and the NFC as a whole, that loss against the Falcons could come back to bite them in the butt. But I definitely feel like for Philadelphia, you got to come out aggressive this game. And once you start aggressive, you got to continue to be aggressive. Because like Jeff said, I mean, Clint Kubiak is out here stunting like his daddy as an offensive coordinator for the Saints, putting up points left and right. And I think if I'm the Eagles, we got to start off hot. And when we start hot, we got to maintain that. We can't go into this shell defense or playing these soft offensive plays. Let's just keep on scoring to the final whistle.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Absolutely. And it comes back to the same thing. We talk about pass rush. Well, the Eagles' pass rush was consistent, but didn't show up on that final drive. They were gassed, all right? And you can see it, all right? Atlanta made all the plays at the end of that game. But it comes back to you had a chance to finish that game in several opportunities. Nick Sirianni going for it on fourth downs that he didn't need to go for it on. Everybody talks about the Saquon drop. Well, that drop doesn't need to happen. Okay, that throw doesn't need to happen if they make plays earlier in the game. So the Eagles left them plenty of room to come back in that game Monday night, and Atlanta walked through the door. They can't make those same mistakes against New Orleans. If you get the turnover against New Orleans, you got to finish with touchdowns. If you get a stop against New Orleans, you got to go out there and put points on the board, even if it's a 3. All right. This offense is going to score points. Your defense is not playing shutdown right now. You have a lot of young players out there, but they can make some plays. I like what I saw from Quinyon Mitchell. He had some ups and downs as a rookie the first 2 games, but for the most part, he's playing very good football. So he's going to only improve. They're getting Cooper DeJean involved. He's going to improve. They've improved that secondary. I expect it to improve even more as the season goes along. I expect the pass rush to come on as those younger players get involved. They're not going to be as gassed as we get past these early games because a lot of these guys haven't played enough preseason games. So at some point today, one of these offenses is going to have to make a crucial play in the game to win it. And right now, you have to trust New Orleans, but they've had it easy. They haven't had it hard yet. Today may be a bit harder.
Well, that just eases me right into the following question on the ticker. Is Derek Carr for real? Yes or no?
Well, I always thought he was for real. I'm going to tell you the truth. I always thought he was for real. Now, is he top tier? Maybe not. But I always thought he was a very good starter. I always thought he was a quality player that could make some plays for you in games. He's won some big games. He's lost some, unfortunately. But the thing about Derek Carr, you always know that you have the talent to win games with him. Now, he's been in situations where, plain and simple, it wasn't always the greatest situation. Last couple of years in New Orleans weren't great for him. Everybody said, he was going to be the savior. Not in that offense that we talked about, had no downfield weapons, no aggressiveness. It was very mundane under Pete Carmichael. You see now, just a couple of added weapons, an improved offensive line, and an attack that actually knows how to go downfield. He looks like a star again. Okay, he had those moments in Oakland before they moved to Vegas, right? He was there with John Gruden, who, let's face it, John Gruden is not the coach that he was. Otherwise, he'd understand how to relate to players better in this day and age. That's why he's gone. Okay, so that's a hampering that he had when he was with the Raiders. So you have things that, unfortunately, coaching does matter at the NFL level. So even with great players. So he's not great. He's good. And there's nothing wrong with having a very good quarterback.
All right. I think you guys have made some phenomenal points. I think if there's this moment where it comes down to one offensive play led by one of the teams, even though I'm a broken-hearted Raider fan, I'm gonna follow Derek Carr. And Joe disagreed, so I want to hear, Joe, your thoughts.
I think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing against the level of competition he's been playing against. Like Jeff said, the Saints haven't truly been tested. You jumped out on Dallas, and once you got ahead so big, Dallas' game plan they had coming into that game completely got thrown into the dumpster fire. You had to stop running the ball. You had Dak going back there throwing 35, 40 times in an attempt to come back. I just feel like this is going to be the first true test for the Saints against, I'm not going to say an elite defense, but one of the better defenses in the NFL. We'll see what Derek Carr has to do. Jeff's right. I do remember some times when he played for Vegas and played for Oakland, him having some moments there where you thought, man, this guy's next. He's going to be the next great quarterback. And it's good to see him off to a really good start, but I have to see him play at this level against superior defenses before I can say, okay, this guy's the real deal. Saints need to lock him up for an extension, all that kind of stuff. Because right now, I think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. When you play against lesser competition and you're a professional quarterback, you should be slicing them up.
Well, the rumor is if they win today, everyone's going to be talking about the Super Bowl. And since it's in New Orleans, it feels like it's fate, if you ask me.
Listen, the Denny Green line.
Oh, my gosh.
The Denny Green line is always applicable early in the season. Crown them! Yeah, because everybody wants to crown somebody when they go 2-3-0. Don't do it yet, folks. Don't go handing anyone parties off. The season is a marathon, not a sprint. You got a long way to go.
Yeah, that's very true. They take on the Chiefs in week 5, and I think that is the test of all tests, if you will. All right, we're going to talk about our fantasy picks. We've name dropped a lot of players in this game alone because the NFL is riddled with injuries right now. And it's been a struggle. I know you guys have struggled. I know people on this chat have struggled. Everybody is trying to find somebody to replace anybody. AJ Brown's out. Joe Mixon's out. George Kittle's out. I mean, you name them. Puka, Isaiah Pacheco's on the IR. Any person that you drafted in the first or second round is likely on the injury list right now. So I need to hear, who are you guys picking up on the waiver wire? What's your secret tips? Let everyone know for the next hour that they have to scramble and get their lives together.
I have no secret tips because I spent 35 minutes trying to get my team to a respectable position so I could at least, when I take a look at what the expected projected points are, either I'm going to win or I have a chance to win. Because like you said, I mean, the players you were naming, almost all those guys are on my lineup. I had Isaiah Pacheco. I had Puka Nacua on my team. Justin Herbert out here trying to scramble and find a quarterback. I mean, you really are digging deep into people's depth charts, trying to find somebody that can help you out. And to your point, Ashmere, it's not just help you out for a game or two. These guys are out for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So it's really a different kind of season if you're a fantasy football owner. We need like a fantasy football owner therapy group where it's a safe place and you can share your frustrations with everybody. But I've been up and down people's depth charts trying to find somebody.
All right, Jeff.
Sad times, man. Sad times.
Well, if you're desperate for a quarterback, right, and you need help, and you need to go out there and get a quarterback that's your backup to your starter, he's on a bye week, don't be afraid to pick a Skylar Thompson. He's going to be throwing the ball quite a bit. They'll be running the football too, but they'll be finding ways to get Tyreek Hill the ball in situations that help him out. He's going to have some help. So it's not like he has to throw for 300 a game. You just need the 1 or 2 big throws from him. Tyreek Hill can provide that because he'll take that slant and go to the house. If you're looking for help in the back situation, any Green Bay running back can help you because they're going to be doing a lot with Malik Willis under center until they get the quarterback back. So that's going to be another thing today where Tennessee is probably going to load the box, try to make Malik Willis beat him, not allow him to throw the ball. But they're going to come in handy because they're going to hit you in the red zone with fantasy points for 6s. They're going to hit you with some nice runs because they're going to get a steady diet. So don't be afraid to pick up some running backs if you're looking for running backs from Green Bay. You may need them. Also, okay, there's a few other teams that have some issues out there, like the Rams. Okay, right? Both starting receivers are out. Tyler Higbee, if he's still sitting out there, crown him. He's your guy for a flex position. Just plain and simple. He's got trusted weapon. He's one of the few trusted weapons that's left. They're going to need him. They have Jordan Whittington and a couple of young receivers out there, but the steady hand is going to be Tyler Higbee.
Okay. Do you think Rashid?
I do have one person though that you should pick up. I mean, if I need a running back, I'd probably get White from the Raiders. I mean, you're going up against a Panthers defense that lets anybody. I could probably get a couple of rushing yards against the Panthers. So I think if I'm going to be looking for a running back, I'd probably pick up White from the Raiders. That's a guy that can get some points.
That is going on every social media platform.
I can get 5 yards. I know I can get 5 yards. I have confidence in myself.
I feel it. I'm not going to say that I would because there's still aggressive men running on that line.
It's got to be a sweep, though. It can't be a straight run. I need like a half-back toss or a sweep. Don't give me no draw because I'm going to get destroyed.
I was going to ask, is Rashid Shaheed's success long-term? I think that's a conversation, especially for his matchup today. I think that's are you starting him? Let's go with that.
I feel confident that, yeah, I would.
I think he's going to be a success long term because they're going to find other ways to get him the football other than just throwing it deep. Right now, teams aren't used to his speed, so he's able to get behind them. Eventually, teams are going to get used to that. They're going to find ways to take that deep ball away, but they'll also run him on over routes. They're going to run him in space to get him open. He's got the speed to run corners across the field, so if you try to man him up, people trying to cover him 50 yards going across the field is hard to do man to man. So he's going to get his opportunities other ways than just vertical. So he's going to have long-term success, especially with Chris Olave on the other side.
And so today you're saying he's a must start.
Absolutely.
All right. On the other side, no A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, we know he's been the number 2, but after last week, are you starting anyone on the Eagles offense? I know it's a difficult feat, so want to hear your thoughts.
Saquon. A guy that's going to get me dual threat points. I start him every week. He's healthy. He's playing. And the only time I'm not putting him out there is when he's on bye week, right? He's a guy that's going to run the ball. He's going to get you touchdowns in the short yardage in the red zone. He's going to get you rushing yards overall. If you're a PPR person, trust me, he's going to get you plenty of both. All right, this is a guy who's going to go out there and do everything for this offense. They got him for that reason. He's a dual threat player that makes plays in both the running and passing game. They're going to use him to death, especially with no A.J. Brown. So, yes, Devontae Smith is going to go out there and get his cashes, but the guy that's going to really supplement him besides that tight end Dallas Goedert is, of course, Saquon Barkley.
And I just want to let everyone know that Jeff said to start JSN last week, and I think in PPR he had 25 points, something like that. So
yeah, I did. I picked up on that too, actually.
The man's dropping some facts here for everybody. I think I'm around that number, but I wanted to let the people know we're not just spitballing player names here, just a name drop. All right, my last question of advice for everybody is the defensive look in the waiver wire is ugly. So I think defenses can also help you go over, just like the kicker from the Steelers can help you win your matchups. So what defense do you guys have starting or that you could pick up for today?
I'll take Cleveland versus the New York Giants. Okay, the Giants are a very limited offense. Cleveland's a very talented defense. Their offense is starting to pick things up. If they jump on the Giants early, it's going to get very ugly in Cleveland.
And I'd pick up the Raiders defense going up against the Carolina Panthers. I mean, no disrespect to Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, but I think that's a good matchup right there. I think when you got Crosby coming in there, you got Wilkins starting to find his way. He's starting to find his way with Vegas as well. I think I'd go with the Raiders defense.
Yeah, those are two great teams. I think I have Seattle against
Miami.
Yeah.
Miami.
Yeah. I think last week they were okay against the Patriots. Maybe they'll take advantage of the backup QB2 opportunity here. But that's also because everyone in my league is hoarding anyone that they can. So I'm one of these struggling people asking all the questions because I am struggling.
I'm right there with you.
All right, to close out the show, we are going to do everyone's favorite segment, our rapid fire picks for today. Be sure to drop your comments your responses in the comments so that we can also track your wins and losses. So we're going to kick things off with the Giants and the Browns. And of course, Jeff's got the big board ready.
Man.
Oh, he cleaned it up. He already doubled down. Wow.
We don't have to wait for him to load.
Drinking 2 cups of coffee.
We don't have to wait for him to load. We just got to pick which one is which. So,
all right, let's go with your top then. So we'll make it easier for you.
All right. So we're doing Giants Browns.
Yeah,
Listen,
sure.
There's going to be a lot of happy dogs in Cleveland. Listen, the Giants are a limited offense versus that defense. Like I said, Cleveland's offense found a way to pick it up last week. They'll continue this week. 2-1 Browns after this week.
Oh God.
Yeah, I gotta go Cleveland. The Giants for me are like that much above the Carolina Panthers. I couldn't get 5 yards running against the Giants defense.
Oh boy, we're hitting that unanimous front here.
Here we go.
If the Giants figured out how to win this game and they barely scraped by from a touchdown-less Commanders, that'd be insane. All right, we'll go on your board, Jeff. So next up, you've got Denver and Tampa.
It's good. Listen, if we're not unanimous on this, I want to know who's going lone wolf here. How could you go against Tampa the way they've played weeks 1 and 2
absolutely.
versus Denver?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going with Tampa on this one.
Yeah, there's no way Denver can figure.
I think Tampa big in this one.
Yes, sir.
Probably taking a trip to Blowout City on that one.
Next up, we've got Chicago and Indy. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to Bears. This Indianapolis team has fooled me 2 weeks in a row. So, listen, I thought they would have played better. They've made some great plays in week 1 versus Houston. And it was like, okay, well, they were good enough to pick last week. Boy, was I wrong. I'm not picking them this week. They're going to earn my pick back. So, therefore, I'm going to go with Chicago.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Chicago, too. I don't see the Colts being that. Sure, Jonathan Taylor, but...
Wasn't it you, Jeff Barnes, that said when choosing teams, don't use emotions? What you see on the field. I'm going.
What I've seen on the field is maybe say, I'm not picking you until you show me better. So you're lone wolfing on this. Okay.
No problem.
There he is, the lone wolf himself.
I'm not afraid.
All right, Houston and Minnesota. Ooh, our favorite matchup of the day, I would say.
I already know where somebody in the chat is going with this, but he's not on the board here. So
I get.
I'm going to Houston Texans. I'm going Texans.
It's kind of hard. I'll go Texans too, but I think this is a closer game than we think.
Oh, it's going to be close. I don't think there's any way, any shape or form a blowout. Greg is going Texans. Are we unanimously cursing the Texans here?
It's like, should I pick Vikings just to save?
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like somebody should pick Minnesota just to make sure the Texans win.
Just to save my team.
I'm not saying Texans because we have a guy that loves the Vikings. I'm saying Texans because I believe, yes, they did a great job in beating San Francisco. I think Houston's a different team, a better team than what we're seeing from San Francisco right now with the injury San Francisco has. And if San Francisco was whole, I don't think that game goes the way it goes last week. They're not whole. This team is. I'm going to go with the team that I think is better in Houston.
All right, Eagles and Saints. Who dat?
Now this is tough.
I'm rolling with Derek Carr. It's a love-hate relationship. That's just who I am.
You're going Derek Carr and the Saints,
Yes, sir. Once a Raider fan and heartbroken always.
Oh, look, Greg going Saints easily. I think there's a little.
He did say earlier.
I think there's a little hate for the Eagles mixed into that pick.
Absolutely.
I don't blame him, but I don't blame him.
Greg's not using his football mind. He's using his heart.
His heart in that one.
I'm gonna go Eagles.
All right, so Joe's gonna go Eagles. No AJ Brown. I'm gonna go Saints.
Yeah, it's tough. The no AJ Brown
twice. Joe,
and I've done lone wolfing, I think.
Second in a row.
All right.
I gotta find a wolf picture for our group text. Just start sending my wolf picture all day today.
What's up next? Chargers, Steelers.
Yeah, I think the Steelers' run ends this week. Give me the Chargers.
That is so crazy. I have to pick the Steelers, right? Like, just to be different. What are you gonna pick, Joe?
I'm going Chargers. Come on, man. Jim Harbaugh, run, tough defense. They keep the undefeated streak going. I'm gonna go Chargers.
Wow.
Even being 2-1 for the Steelers is still a good start to the season. I know their fans will be screaming, "Oh my God, the season's over!" But I know a lot of teams will take 2-1, so I'm gonna go Chargers.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Steelers too, with Greg here.
That's tag team picks.
I think the defense is too strong. Like, Mr. Herbert's gonna be on the ground. I said that earlier, so it's gonna be tough for him. All right, Green Bay and Tennessee. Ugly.
Packers.
Go Pack, go.
My first instinct is go Packers.
Yeah, I'm with you. Go Pack, go. I haven't heard any news from my Will Levis friend, so I think he silenced himself.
He's probably still on the sideline throwing underhanded behind the back passes.
He's like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Listen, sometimes when you go against the former team, it inspires you. But sometimes that former team has the secret sauce on you.
Yeah.
So give me Tennessee in this one. I just think they're going to be able to force him into some mistakes he can't recover from. So I think Tennessee's going to pull this one out.
You and Greg alike. Miami and Seattle.
Who did you pick on that one, Mashmere?
Oh, I went for the Packers.
Okay. So we're split.
Yep.
Okay. Miami, Seattle.
Ooh, I think big day for DK Metcalf. I think Seahawks. The last time I saw Skylar Thompson was that playoff game. I know it was cold. I know it was Buffalo, but I was not impressed at all.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I think they're going to do everything they can to disrupt Skylar Thompson's rhythm. But Seattle's not exactly the offensive juggernaut either. This is going to be a close game. And if you give Miami a chance, they can beat you in a close game late. So I'm not ruling Miami out in this one as much as I want to look at it and say, I think they have the chance to go into Seattle and win. That 12th man is hard to overcome. As much as I want to pick Seattle, I'm going to go Miami.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh, look at you guys. Another good fantasy pickup this week.
The offense is still there, right? The weapons are still there. I think if the first half is ugly for Miami, the second half will be pretty. But I'm really shooting high here. And we've got Greg on Seattle as well.
You're going Miami too. All right. So
bold.
Oh, it's time. Raiders and Panthers.
This should be unanimous across the board.
The return of Andy Dalton.
This should be unanimous across the board. Raiders by far.
You're just counting out Andy like that?
I am. I'm waiting for that phone call from the Raiders. I give them one play.
Listen, I take how sometimes the team talks, all right? You upset how the quarterback was playing from the preseason. You benched him after 2 games, and you're already talking about him potentially coming back to the lineup this season. Yeah. Okay,
no
that doesn't sell me on Andy Dalton. Give me the team that actually has a vision and a plan in the Raiders.
The Minshew magic strikes again.
The Dolphins should be on the phone trying to pick up Bryce Young.
That's what the rumors are.
Yeah,
all right,
get out of there.
Right. Detroit and my favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, this game's at Arizona?
I mean, there's no 3 touchdowns in the first half thing happening here. So
from what I saw last week with Kyler Murray being able to move around and make some plays outside the pocket, kind of like he was that one season when he was the first 5 games of the season MVP and then fell apart. That Cardinals offense looks pretty explosive. I'm a big James Conner fan. I think he's an old school running back in a new age game. I'm going to go Cardinals.
I think if the Lions lose this game, I think their season of last year was a magical one, if that makes sense. They may not be able to repeat the success, but I'll go with the Lions.
Wow.
All of that goes to Detroit.
Ashmere, you could be lone wolfing on this one.
I've abandoned the Cardinals.
But you won't be. Listen, I've been wrong on the Cardinals before. I don't think I'm wrong this week. Detroit is a different animal than that wounded Rams team that they smacked last week. I think Detroit has a way better defense, way better pass rush, the way better game plan. Those 2 linebackers actually can tackle Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
They can run the football with Arizona. They can throw the football with Arizona. I'm going to take Detroit. It's not as even a matchup as a lot of people think.
It will be fun in the first half. This is like a first half fun game, and then the second half. All right.
Now, if the Cardinals lose this game, I'm pulling a Jeff Barnes, and I'll be abandoning them until they earn my respect and be picked again later on in the season. I'll throw it out there.
Niners and the banged up Rams.
Oh.
I would not want to play the Niners after the loss they had last week. I'm just going to say that. So I'm going to go Niners.
Samesies.
Listen, if I'm
injury bowl.
If I'm Matthew Stafford, I'm claiming I have COVID and I can go home this week because I don't want to be out there with no receivers versus this pass rush. Give me
Tyler Higbee only. Tyler Higbee.
He said COVID.
Unanimous. Yikes. Sorry, Niner fans. The curse is upon you.
Yeah, well, they got that curse last week, so they're hoping it doesn't repeat this week.
All right. Joe's Commanders against Cincinnati, who is struggling, by the way.
Cincinnati. Let's just move on. This is going to be this has potential to be embarrassing. Commanders, national television, the return of T. Higgins, a pissed off Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I'm smelling a first-class trip to Blowout City.
I don't even need to wait for Greg to put it in the chat to know what he's picking here.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think we're all Bengals.
I just hope Jalen Daniels not get hurt.
Yeah, Bengals for sure.
No injuries to Daniels.
Put up an upset here, but we can't ask too much of him.
Yeah, no, I'm picking the Bengals, and the reason is yes, they're getting T. Higgins back, but plain and simple, they played very well against Kansas City.
Yes,
one interference call away from possibly winning that game. One that Ashmere didn't agree with, but he did interfere with him. It was pass interference.
No, I just needed some clarification because I obviously don't like the Chiefs. So
it was. Yeah. You don't make that call in that situation part of the game. It was the right call. But that's a call you make in the first, second quarter, not when the game's on the line. Like that.
And it was like a tap. It wasn't like a. Anyways, whatever.
It was the right call. That's something.
Yeah. We all learned something last week. All right, Jacksonville and Buffalo. Ooh, Jacksonville is ugly.
Yeah, this has been. I don't know what is up with Jacksonville. I would have thought they would have been a better start to the season than they have been. They have been putrid with their inconsistency. I got to go Buffalo. I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville right now.
Yeah, it's ugly. I'm thinking Buffalo as well. And if anyone has Trevor Lawrence as their fantasy quarterback, I'm struggling here with you. So.
All right.
Then we got page 2, right? Yeah.
Absolutamente. There you go, Greg. You were waiting for it.
The boys and Flock Nation. I'm going to pick last.
Well, Greg, do I need to ask you what you're picking? Yeah. Okay. I knew you were going there, Joe.
I think I'm going to go to Ravens.
So is Greg. Baltimore.
Now you're picking the right way, Greg.
Yeah. Well, I'd hate to tell Greg he's wrong on this one, but he's wrong on this one. Listen, we just talked about the inconsistencies of the Ravens offense. This is not the Saints. Okay, the Saints are firing on all cylinders. Dallas had a rough time last week. Yes, the Ravens are going to move the ball on the ground. They're going to score some points. They're going to settle for field goals when they shouldn't. All right, Dallas is going to find a way to move the ball. It'll be a tight game. You said Brandon Aubrey, Greg. Well, get used to seeing him today, and he's going to win the game for you because your Cowboys are going to win.
Yeah, I'm picking the boys as well. And this one I'm picking with my heart because I have CD Lamb. Kansas City against the return of Kirk Cousins. Okay.
So Kansas City was able to pull it out in a tough situation. That pass interference saved the day because that ball wasn't getting caught with the secondary closing on them. So that saved the day. Otherwise, you're talking about 1-1 Chiefs in the situation versus 1-1 Falcons. Falcons impressed me Monday night by taking out Philadelphia. But can they do it 2 weeks in a row versus the defending champs? I say yes. Give me the Falcons in this one. I'm going to say the Falcons find a way. Once again, the Chiefs they aren't blowing anybody away. We haven't seen the Chiefs do that yet. They're letting teams hang around. You let this Falcon team hang around, they can beat you. They will win today.
Falcons.
Yeah, I have to go to Atlanta as well. I mean, no Pacheco. What kind of running game do you have out there in Kansas City right now? I go Atlanta.
Steele.
And we're also at home. Got a little bit of home cooking there in the Dirty South. I go Falcons.
Falcons all the way. Greg has as well. Uh-oh, dangerous.
And Thursday night football, Giants Cowboys.
Oh, I'm not doing it.
It's a tough one. It's a really hard choice for me.
But my record needs it. Oh my God. I'll go Dallas in a landslide.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a really good TV show planned that you want to watch on Thursday. So when this game gets out of hand, you can just turn on Netflix or Prime Video and have at it.
Jeff and I believe in the back-to-back wins for the boys, so that's a big ask.
Indeed.
Give me the Cowboys. Listen, I'm sorry. Listen, there's just too much anemic offense in New York. I think Dallas goes out there. Yes, it's a divisional matchup. They can go either way, but we've seen divisional matchups mean nothing on Thursday night. The better team is winning on Thursday nights. Dallas is the better team.
Yep.
Oh.
Couldn't agree more.
A lot of stars on the board.
40 points coming to Dallas.
So what do we have? 1, 2, 3. We have 5 unanimous games we picked. Yeah. No, 6. Sorry.
That's not bad.
Yeah, compared to
no.
the 8 we had last week. Yeah. 7 technically. Yeah.
I'm sure
we had more than that. We had 11 because we had some of them were right. So we had about 11 of them that were unanimous last week. So
just trying to get above 500 and work my way up from there.
You only need what? 5 more games. You're close. You're right there.
Baby steps, man. Get above 500, then I go for my championship run.
All right, everyone. Thank you for yet another fun Sunday morning. This is a great way to kick off your day. Everyone's got 40 minutes to run to the waiver wire. So if you heard any of the help from Jeff and Joe, you've got time. And I'm speaking to myself here. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe Team NBS Media on all your social platforms. We appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a lovely day into the evening, whatever. Football's all day. You know what I mean. All right. Catch you guys next week. Thanks.